So one thing that actually surprised me about the Nintendo Switch launch was actually one of the launch titles that I honestly was not expecting. Bomberman. After God knows how long of Bomberman being non-existent in the world, a new release just came around the corner, Super Bomberman R. And is it good? Is it bad? Well, let's find out, shall we? But first, before we find out, I have actually heard that these cartridges actually have a flavoring to them. I'm gonna test that out. I'm kind of curious about. That's vile. Jesus. Super Bomberman R is the latest entry into the Bomberman franchise that, in regards to gameplay, is essentially just like any previous Bomberman game. Essentially, you are dropped into a small maze littered with bricks and wall formations, and you are given bombs that you can place down to blow up said walls. Generally, the rule of the game is to beat the other player in a bomb-to-bomb combat, usually requiring you to outthink your opponent or trap them in various corners without accidentally trapping and killing yourself, which is exceptionally easy to do so. Throughout the course of this game's matches, you'll find a very large number of power-ups that allow you to upgrade your playable Bomberman in order to get a larger blast range, gain the ability to throw bombs, or simply gain multiple bombs that you're able to place down at any given time, as opposed to a single bomb on screen that you have at the start of the match. The game can be essentially pure mayhem, and an absolute blast to play, especially when played in multiplayer with other people. The game, however, does offer a single player experience alongside multiplayer matches, with up to 50 levels to blast through. However, these 50 levels will be over before you know it, and personally I clocked in roughly 3 to 4 hours. And generally they serve largely as a small way to get accustomed to the game. The story of the game also offers a very simplistic plot of big bad guy tries to do bad things, and it's up to the Bomberman brothers to take to the stand to stop him and various evil Bomberman in explosive combat. Each of the game's cutscenes are extremely cheesy and cutesy to watch, which honestly I love, with the voice acting as a whole pretty all things considered, but oddly entertaining at the exact same time despite that. During each of the game's various single-player levels, you will find yourself within a large number of multi-layered stages where you must defeat certain number of enemies and continue, find various hostages, or press switches. I feel it's honestly pretty fun to run through, and the game even offers 2-player co-op if you have any friends on hand that would like to join in. However, despite the fact I find the single player rather fun, I do have 2 major criticisms. Firstly, I find depth perception in this game to be completely obnoxious, as I constantly found myself on the wrong sections of a level attempting to kill an enemy on a different floor, or I find myself struggling to hit a switch, which I feel is largely to blame on the static camera angle in each stage. That granted does zoom in and out, but I feel having more control would have helped a great deal. And the controls do take some getting used to. This is because, despite its simple nature, the characters do have fully 3-dimensional movement, and are not locked to very specific tiles when moving. Which doesn't sound like much, I admit, but due to the style of the gameplay present here, can make it an absolute pain to maneuver around corners. And generally, I found plenty of deaths caused by this issue alone. And this issue, of course, isn't simply isolated to single-player mode as well, because the multiplayer mode of the game also has the exact same control scheme, and granted you can get used to this, but when you're starting out, it's a little bit frustrating to say the least. At the end of every world, you will face up against a boss battle that usually takes 2 phases to complete, with phase 1 being a typical Bomberman match, and phase 2 being a more grandiose fight. These boss battles are generally nothing special, and I feel they are just sort of there. Not only that, but the phase 1 of these boss fights can get pretty goddamn obnoxious sometimes, and I generally found myself winning these fights out of either pure luck or putting bombs down mindlessly without thinking. The AI as well is also pretty all over the place. One minute they can destroy you, and the next they'll just blow themselves up. It's really weird. For completing various online matches or single player worlds, you are actually awarded with coins that you are able to spend in the in-game store to unlock more levels, characters, and cosmetic hats for your Bomberman to wear. These coins also double up as continues, so whenever you lose all of your lives in a single player mode, this will allow you to continue in exchange for some money, which I find to be a pretty damn neat way to offer a penalty for failing without being obnoxious. The game also boasts a surprisingly well-made soundtrack, and while the main menu music has me literally losing my mind at times because of how repetitive it is, the level themes are all pretty energetic. I enjoy listening to them as I'm playing. Of course, the real meat of the game is in its online play, which works as you would pretty much expect. You join a lobby, blow people up, and so on. However, the online, I feel, isn't exactly the most stable. And a lot of the times while trying to join a game, I found myself sitting there for about 30 or so minutes just waiting for a match to join. Though truthfully, this isn't as bad as it was when I first loaded up the game. And the game seems pretty damn inconsistent in terms of connection quality. Some matches I'll join perfectly and I'll find myself having a blast, pun not intended. However, other times I'll join a match and I'll get some severe input lag, where it'll occasionally take a second or two for my inputs to register. Granted, due to the style of the game, I can generally get used to the lag and, adapt to it. However, it's still very frustrating and can definitely ruin the fun in blowing people up. Just trying to wash the taste away. So anyway, ultimately, Super Bomberman R is a game that I cannot recommend in all honesty. It's by far not a terrible game. In fact, it's a solid game if you can get around some of the minor nitpicks I have and get around a lot of issues like cornering and whatnot. But there's not much legs for this game. There's really not much content at all. And at the price they're asking, it's pretty damn insane. Not only that, the online space seems to be pretty barren, so if you want to play this game online, I can't guarantee it'll last for very long. But aside from that, if you are able to pick this game up for quite cheap, then I would recommend it. It is good as a budget title, but at the price it's currently being sold at, which is a full retail price of 50 quid, no, it is not worth the money. I would say spend your money on something else, like Zelda. So with that has basically been the review, so thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish people, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye!